If Christ died for the sins of the world, where do the dead who never believed go? This is one of the most important and most difficult questions people ask. Today I want to shine the light the Holy Spirit gave me on this subject, because this part of the Bible often confuses people. Let's start with the text. 1 Peter 3 verses 18 to 20. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the Spirit. In it he went and preached to the spirits in prison, who formerly were disobedient, when God's patience waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared. From this passage we see something very clear. When Christ died and descended to Hades, he did not simply wait there to rest before rising on the third day. He went into the realm of the dead to preach the gospel to those held captive. That is what the text says. Now you might ask, wasn't he only preaching to those who died in Noah's day? The answer is, no, it was wider than that. Look at 1 Peter 4 verse 6. For this reason the gospel was preached also to those who are dead, that though judged in the flesh like all mankind, they might live in the spirit like God. From this verse we understand that the gospel was preached to the dead broadly, not only to a single group in one era. The purpose was just, so that those who had died without hearing the gospel might be given a fair opportunity, judged in the flesh like all mankind, and yet given the message in the Spirit. Remember, Christ did not come only for one nation. He came for Jews and Gentiles. He began his public ministry among the Jews on earth, and then the gospel went to the Gentiles. When he went to Hades, he likewise acted justly and comprehensively, proclaiming victory, taking the keys of death, and declaring his triumph. He did not limit his declaration to one people while ignoring others. God is a just God. He will not condemn people who never had a real chance to hear the gospel. The Bible's portrait shows that those who died ignorant of the gospel are not abandoned. Christ holds the keys of death and Hades. See Revelation 1 verse 18. And by his descent he proclaimed the gospel to those in captivity, giving them an opportunity to respond. So who are the ones the gospel is preached to after death? Based on Scripture and the logic of God's justice, it is not primarily those who heard and rejected Christ. They already had their opportunity. It is those who never heard, those held captive in ignorance, to whom the gospel is proclaimed in the Spirit, so that they may be judged fairly. Their response remains a choice even in that state. Hearing the gospel is an offer, not an automatic salvation without response. This is not a human idea invented to soften doctrine. It is scriptural and consistent with God's character. God is righteous and impartial. Acts 10 verses 34 to 35. He judges both the living and the dead justly. If Christ preached to the dead when he descended, then those who died without hearing had the gospel proclaimed to them by the victor over death. That is the mercy and justice of God at work. In short, Christ's descent to the dead shows God's fairness. He proclaimed the gospel to the captives so nobody is left out by ignorance. The keys of death are now in Christ's hands, and God will judge with righteousness. The dead who never heard are not neglected. They are given the message, and God's judgment will be just. Family, if this message opened your eyes, don't let it end here. Truth grows when you share it. Light spreads when you pass it on. So take 1 second to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications, because God is using this channel to reveal things many have never been taught in church. So after this, go and watch the full teaching. It will bless your life. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.